It's a Texas showdown in the postseason, and BetOnline is your number one source for all your baseball wagering info. With up to the minute stats, news, scores, and matchup breakdowns. Get the latest game odds, spreads, and totals for NFL and college football at your fingertips with BetOnline's real time updates on statistics, news, and odds. We have everything you need to stay up to speed with each LCS all the way through to the World Series. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Don't forget to use promo code Bleav to receive your 50% welcome bonus. Again, that's code BLEAV to receive 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. It is the Arizona Cardinals centric specific show where, of course, we talk about the Arizona Cardinals here in the Phoenix metropolitan area. I am one of your co-hosts. I am Javon J. Love Adams, and with me, as always, is a man who played in the National Football League. He also plays some professional baseball as well, but he was on that first Super Bowl-bound team for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm talking about author, motivational speaker, my brother, Ed Easy Smith. What is good, my brother?
All good, bro. Hey, one of these days you're gonna have to get me. We continue to, obviously be backed by Bet Online. You're gonna have to tutor me, man. Yeah, give me.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a couple nickels on some of these games.
All right. Yeah, and I would say the biggest thing is you know me, I might bet 5, maybe 10. I'm not a guy that's going out there putting 20, 100, something like that. Maybe if I get something that builds up. But anyway, it's that way. If I lose it, it's not that big of a deal. Or that way, I also don't feel as if I have to watch the entire game to go through the rising and falling of emotions. That can get you.
Yeah, I've never, I played the fantasy and all that, so I'm invested. But I've never bet on games. It seems like it would be fun, but it also seems like it would rack your nerves just a little bit, depending on how much you had invested. But
Oh yeah,
I do like how you do it, how you just throw a couple nickels out there and not a whole bunch. So I know some people who live and die by it, and and I'm like, how do you? That's a lot. I'd rather go to the casino where I got a little more at that blackjack table.
Indeed. So, we do this 2 times a week on Mondays and Thursdays. Mondays, we're always looking back on the game that just occurred and breaking things down, and maybe some of those will carry through the theme for the week. And then on Thursday, we talk about the upcoming opponent and give our thoughts and give a projection as well on who we think is going to win the game. This week, the Arizona Cardinals will be facing the NFC West rival Seahawks. And so we definitely want to break that down and talk about that. So the Seahawks are coming in 3-2, and the Arizona Cardinals are 1-5. It's interesting how, and we just did the 12 podcast just yesterday, and it's interesting how I think you mentioned this, how we were drinking the Kool-Aid of, man, they might be 1-2, but man, look at the 1-2. They might be 1-3, but it's a hard 1-3. It might be, but I think the shine is starting to come off a little bit, and these are going to be the grinding moments, I think, for the rest of the season. As we've already stated, you and I both are on the same page with this, that the Cardinals aren't going to be favored in any games this season, and especially if you're coming in at 1-5, you're definitely not going to be favored when it comes to any opponent kind of coming down the stretch.
Can I give you one real quick? You know what happened to us. You know how when we were back in high school, and young ladies were introduced to the makeup and everything. And one day, you saw this young lady, and she's on the board or friends of, she looks pretty good, and that's what the Cardinals kind of did to us. It's like, okay, I can see it. Then one day you went to her house, unexpected, right? And you caught her without the makeup, and it was like, oh damn. That's what the Cardinals did to us, man. It was like last week. It was like we saw them without all that pretty makeup and everything, and they got undressed by the Cincinnati Bengals. It was like, oh damn, maybe they aren't that pretty. So yeah, now we deal.
Oh Lord, that as always, your analogies are right on point. So let's get into this. A couple of things I wanted to break down. So The biggest thing that the question that I have is, can the Cardinals make adjustments to get the offense and defense back on track? And for the most part, especially the last couple of weeks, has been a little bit of the second halves are always the challenge, or the fourth quarters more specifically. And I wonder if they can make those adjustments, those in-game adjustments. It's not the coming in with the game plan. This is how when you're doing all the things in the week leading up to it. But can they make the adjustments in game? And I wanted to hear what you think about that.
Well, this is one of those games where, and when you say can they, yes, they can. The problem is, I think this environment going up to Seattle, where they obviously have a great home field advantage, and it's a tough place to play. And then it's an opponent that does everything when Seattle's doing the things that they need to do to be successful. They're the exact things that give us trouble. Meaning they can run the ball. They have a quarterback that they're not expecting to. He can sometimes drop back and be masterful, but for the most part, let's not call him a game manager, but they don't want him. He's not a high risk guy. He's best when he's intermediate, throwing the ball maybe 25 to 30 times. And then defensively, they like to get after it. They stop the run. The crowd noise is always a factor. We anticipate some penalties on our offense because of the noise and, getting rattled a little bit. And then minus our running game with Connor, we might be forced to do the exact thing that we don't like to do, meaning turn it over to Joshua Dobbs if we fall behind, if they're getting after it. He's in mode where he's doing a little bit more, things that we thought he might do early in the season, turning the ball over. So there's going to be a lot on this staff in terms of trying to get the great play, like the great game plan going in, but then being able to adjust. I think it's going to be. This going to be one of those games where the environment and everything's stacked against them. I don't see this as a great game to be coming off of the game we just played against Cincinnati and thinking we're going to see, okay, these are the things they need to do. I don't know if this is the game where they can do it because of everything that's kind of stacked against them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I do wonder. I wonder this as well when it comes to. So Geno Smith is almost it's a tale of two different seasons, and every season is its own thing because even if you bring back the same squad, it's a different squad because you get older, priorities change, those things. But last season, around this time, he had 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. This season, he has three touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So it's a 3-to-2 ratio, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, three touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But because of the weakness of the secondary, even though Buda Baker is coming back, but I mean, there's only so much Buda Baker can do, right? He's not covering people. He's the safety. But can the Seahawks take advantage of the Cardinals secondary, namely when we're looking at like a Lockett, Metcalf, but Noah Fant? Does that concern you? Because he might be able to eat a little bit if the game plan for the Seahawks focuses on the Cardinals secondary.
Yeah, they have the weapons, and as you mentioned, he's not having that magical season that he had last year that got him paid.
Yes, sir.
So, and the expectations rise when you go out there and you have that season like last year. Then they give you the bank, and it's like, okay, well, we paid you. Now, what are you going to do? So now, like, the focus is on him a little bit. I still think he's the perfect quarterback for their system and for what they like to do. He's, I dare say, the poor man's Russell Wilson, where he's just going to think about before Russell had the the one champion Super Bowl, and they got the next, and all of a sudden, he's married to Sierra, and he's man of the year and all that kind of stuff. he elevated himself, and Seattle and Pete Carroll. That's an organization. They like their guys kind of humble and out there on the grind, and they were led by the defense for the most part early even in Russell's career, and he kind of outgrew them a little bit. Then in comes Geno Smith, working man, hard man, the traveling man, and he kind of fit their mode. And
Right.
I think he is the perfect quarterback for that situation. He's just not having the start he did last year, but with these weapons, I think this is, we always talk about it, Jay. This could be a get right game for this perfect opponent. Sometimes it's just who you're playing and when you're playing them. Coming off that loss in Cincinnati last week, they're 3-2. Not bad. And then come the Cardinals. This could be that get right game for them. Now, I'm not saying the Cardinals, they've shown that they can play with anybody, but we're kind of showing also they are who we thought they all were going to be a little bit.
Right.
So if they're on the downslide right now, and you're going into this hostile environment, this is the perfect opponent with the banged up secondary minus James Conner. Joshua Dobbs is not playing well, and Seattle. Hey, this is your opportunity. We come in, they jump on us early, and this could be one of those games where they feel like they're getting some things right because of who they're playing.
Now, again, Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. He's Ed Smith. I'm Javon Adams. Sometimes numbers don't tell the whole story. I know Kenneth Walker III is a hard running back, but to me, the rushing attack for the Seattle Seahawks kind of leaves a little bit to be desired, because he averages 69 yards a game. He gets the majority of the carries, and if we can make them try to run the ball, that might be, from a Cardinals perspective, that might be where there's an opportunity to get to maybe stay in the game, if not have an opportunity to win this game. And I don't know if I'm looking at those numbers wrong, but just in terms of looking at how they're playing out, that seems to be the weak part of the Seahawks.
Weak part, but I also say be careful what you wish for, because if they do get that running game going, that opens up everything for them, and that's probably going to be their focus. They're probably they're looking at our front, thinking we can do this, that, and the other. And if we are successful running the ball, that just opens our entire playbook up. So I guarantee you, the Seahawks are looking at their game plan is going to be, let's try to hit them early and gash them. And now we always talk about it, Jay. Successful runs don't have to be 30 and 40 yards all the time. If you're first down, if you're picking up 3, 4, 5 and making it easier for second and third down, especially third down when you got the short yardage instead of third and 8s and 9 plus. Obviously you're playing at home. You want to stay away from penalties, which can stall drives. But Kenneth, he is the key, in my opinion, to this game, because if they get him going, that takes a lot of the pressure off of Geno. That then opens Lockett up. And we talked to the Seahawks group yesterday. They're talking about Fant. They didn't even mention Metcalf. They talked about Fant. If we, they can get him open and utilize him, then that, like I said, that's part of they need that to succeed. I think they're going to try to use that. And then that beast on the outside. When I look at Metcalf, man, I'm like, golly, doesn't he look like, he looks like when you think about if they ever use machines to play football. I mean, you look at a dude like him and you're like, golly, if I would never wear a shirt if I was that dude. And as a wide receiver, that's a wide receiver. You look at that body. Our secondary, I guarantee you. Give you a quick example. When I was playing, there were weeks and I'd look and I'd be like, golly, Michael Strahan. You start watching the film, you're like, oh my God, it's gonna be a rough week. I guarantee our secondary is like looking at the film and golly, damn, that that's a tough ask right there. So I expect him to get his. And as you mentioned, the running game could be very important for them early to get things started. And if they do that, I think they'll be successful.
All right, so Bleav in the Arizona Cardinals. Let's take it from the Arizona Cardinals perspective. So let's look. Joshua Dobbs, you mentioned it just a few minutes ago. He hasn't been the last couple of weeks. It's been a little bit the decision making. When you look at the last couple of weeks, he's had 3 interceptions in the last 2 weeks. But sometimes it's the decision making as if he is a little tentative to pull the trigger. I still wonder. I put most of that on him, but I wonder if it's about coaching as well, saying don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over. Let's make sure that we're possessing the ball, so to speak. Just one of those things to throw out there. But is because of that, and we know that Connor is out, but do they still have to kind of focus enough on the run to open up the play action to be able to give Joshua Dobbs to maybe make him a little bit more comfortable and give themselves an opportunity to stay in this game from an offensive perspective?
Well, how much can we ask of Joshua Dobbs, bro? I mean,
Okay. Okay.
he's doing a good job, man. You got to remember he got here, and I know we're in week 6. We're going into week 7 of the season. He got here 10 days before the season started. No off season, no OTAs with the guys, no picking up the offense and being able to study it all through the summer. So he was playing catch up to begin with, with guys he's never thrown to, that type of thing. And then to be 7 games in, 1-5, obviously it's disappointing, but at the same time, it's not embarrassing. He hasn't gone out there and done himself any injustice, and that's why when everybody's calling for Tune, and I'm like, you guys realize the job that Joshua Dobbs is actually doing? It's actually a decent job. He's had a couple of interceptions, 3 over the last couple games. There are quarterbacks in the league, Jay, that have 3 interceptions in a game. In one game, let alone over a course of 3. And his stats are, here's the thing is, he's not burning anything up. I think he's got 6 TDs, 3 interceptions. Part of that is because they've got the handcuffs on him. Let's use let's say the training wheels. They have the training wheels on him where they're not letting the young man, ride the bike up the street. It's like they're scared. Part of it is we have not opened this offense up at all. And we, continue to dink dunk, and now minus our run game with Connor, you talk about losing a weapon that was valuable to one Joshua Dobbs and the entire offense. Now I don't know how you make it work, because you're not going to have that dude that you can depend on first down to get you 3 or 4. Move the chains on those 3rd and short yardage, or keep you in those 3rd and short yardage. This is a dangerous game for us, because without Connor and that noise and everything, where the environment we're going into, is Joshua Dobbs, he could have another bad game here, and everybody's going to be crying like, what is going on? And it's like, what did you expect from him in the first place? He isn't Kyler Murray, for one. He's not a franchise quarterback. Right. He's a dude in here just trying to manage this thing. And I would say to the coaching staff, to Petzing and them, hey, what do you have to lose? Let's open it up a little bit. And if he does falter a little bit, maybe rein it back in. But you don't know what you have if you never, or you don't know what he can fully do with this offense if you never let him open it up. And it just seems like they've been playing scared with, scare money. My saying, scare money don't make money. And, they're just kind of puttering along. And it is what it is at this point in the season.
All right. So before we get into how each team can win this game, can win the game from your perspective, a couple of notable players coming back off the injury list. Budda Baker is back. That's an injection of talent, and that's good on the defensive side of the ball. You feel good having him come back, right?
He's our leader. Yeah, he's the dude that everybody, when they're out there on the field, they get their energy from Budda, and he can make some spectacular plays. I always say, though, if your safety is making a whole bunch of plays, 2 things are happening. He's flying to the ball at the line of scrimmage, or he's making a lot of tackles in the secondary, which can be bad. So you'd like our front to be protecting him, and you'd like to hear your safety's name when he's picking balls off and batting balls down, not making a whole bunch of tackles. But he is the spark for this team, though.
Now, the other one is, of course, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is off the injury list. He practiced on Wednesday. No timetable on when he will play, but does that? I mean, it was going to happen at some point in time. What are your thoughts on that? Because are you still concerned about the mental aspect of his coming back from injury?
Absolutely. And what does he practice mean? Does it mean he was out on the field watching and maybe doing a couple drills and stuff like that? That's nice. But when you're talking about practicing, that means he's out there and full go, making cuts, preparing, getting his stamina up and to possibly be playing, because he's got that 21-day window. In the next 21 days, if they don't fully activate him, I think he has to go back on the pup for the rest of the year. So he's got a small window here. I don't know about. I mean, that's he's not coming off of an high ankle sprain, Jay. This is an ACL, and then they got to make the decision. Is he ready? Now maybe they activate him and just don't use him for the next few weeks, but they're gonna have to make a decision. And I don't know. It just seems to me it's way too early. He messed that knee up at the end of the season. We're only in week 7 of this one, and mentally, where's he at? Physically, where's he at? The strange thing, Jay, we haven't heard a word from Kyler Murray. We haven't heard nobody. I don't know whether they haven't been able to get a microphone in front of his face, but has any? I mean, look over in Green Bay. I'm not Green Bay. You look over in New York with the Jets.
Yeah.
Your boy Aaron Rodgers, he can't keep a microphone out of his mouth. I mean, we're getting daily updates. We're getting hourly updates on him, and he's talking about possibly being back on. We haven't heard a word, not a single word from Kyler Murray to say, this is where I'm at. I'm excited. I think I'm going to be playing in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So we haven't heard a word. So for us to speculate, that's all it is speculation.
Indeed. So, of course, we'll keep an eye on that. So now let's go into how each team can win. So how can the Seahawks win this game? And as you're saying this, one thing that Seahawks, their defense can be had a little bit. There could be aberrations where right now they're averaging the defense is giving up 21.6 points per game. That's about 18th in the league in terms of that stat. So, but how can the Seahawks win this game?
Seahawks can win this game exactly. I've said it already. Run the ball, establish that. On the outside, you got these weapons, Metcalf. Don't be afraid to throw one up. We got a receiver in Metcalf. Use him deep, over the top, and you got Lockett and Fant. They got all the weapons offensively. They run the ball, play action. They got that crowd behind them. This could be their get-right game offensively. Defensively, if they stop us from running the ball and you put everything on Joshua Dobbs' shoulder with our lack of weapons on the outside, and force him to have to drop back 35 to 40 times, this could be real ugly for us. So that's how they win the game. So they run the ball, and then they stop us from running it, and that's the formula for them. And that's as easy as cake, man.
All right, so now let's flip it. How can the Cardinals win this game?
You got to ball control, man. I don't know how you do it without Connor, because he was the one who, get us off on those first downs, and it's long, sustained drives. I don't know how we have to be smart in this one. Don't expect Dobbs to, like I said, if he's back there throwing the ball 40 times, we're in trouble. This is a ball control game, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, maybe, however you got to do it, but at the same time, you have to take some shots over the top. Get Marquise Brown down the field. Marquise Brown isn't a receiver that if you're going to keep him, you don't utilize. He's not a dude you run over the middle of the field, right? This is a dude that you run, some 5, some 9, some 7s, some streaks, some deep digs and stuff like that. We're not doing that. We got to utilize him down the field. So take some shots, run the ball, take some shots defensively. We just have to get her after. We got to stop them from running the ball. If we don't, and give them the ability to, 2nd and 4 and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden play action over the top goes Metcalf. We got to stop them from running the ball successfully, and then maintain our composure on both sides of the ball in that crowd noise, man. Offensively, you got to be tight. No, cannot afford all these penalties that stop drives and can and then extend drives on the other side. We have to be disciplined. Like I said, ball control. Win this game ugly. This is not a game we're going to go up there and think we're going to, like you did with Dallas. That was a fluke. We have to win this game as ugly as possible, and that's just the plain fact. We're not playing pretty football right now. We got to figure out a way to muck this one up somehow.
Okay, so before I get your thoughts on who wins this game, last season the Seahawks were 2-0 against the Cardinals, and also the Cardinals, in terms of the last 3 games, they've lost by at least 14 points each of the last 3 games. So having said that, who do you think wins this game? And I'll go first, as I'm sure you ready with the answer. But I think this might get ugly. I think it might get ugly. I would say, let's say 30, 35, 13.
Okay.
Cardinals lose.
Okay. I'm thinking right around the same as you. We did not score a touchdown last week, which was discouraging. I think we do get in the end zone this one, but with a bunch of field goals to back it up. So I have the Cardinals scoring like 16, and I would say like 27 or 30 to 16. But I do see this one as being an ugly blowout for us here.
All right. So he is Ed Smith. I am Javon Adams. Again, we do this 2 times a week, Mondays and Thursdays. Mondays, we look back on the game that was. Thursdays, we look ahead to the upcoming week. So tell a friend about what we have going on here. We do appreciate it. As always, we are presented by Bet Online. And as we always like to say around this time, you can